let's continue with the configuration of the mapping server. You know that we have mapping server in the NX OS 4. And here, the first thing that we should enable is the feature list. Let me to write the configuration of the MS here. This is the configuration of the XTR configuration. Okay, but now we are going to configure the next step. The next step is configuring the mapping server and also mapping resolver. Because of that, I am going to call it step 5. Like, we need again license, transport service license in NXOS, and this is the configuration of the MR. Okay, the first thing that we should configure on the switch 4 is the enabling the LISP feature. First, the feature LISP command is necessary. Then you know that we need to enabling the role of map server and also the role of map resolver on this switch. Let me to show you. Look at here. In the switch 4, first I'm going to use the feature LISP. Now this feature is enabled. Look at here, IP LISP. You learn about the IP LISP ETR, IP LISP ITR, and also IP LISP ITR-ETR. Now we have IP LISP, for example, map server, and also IP LISP map resolver. We can configure these two commands with the, for example, commands such as the IP LISP ITR and ETR. Look at here, switch config. All of these commands should be enabled again on the, for example, global configuration IP LISP map server, and then IP LISP map resolver. This is the two global commands. But after that, we need to configure the LISP sites. You know it. For configuring the LISP site, you can use this command, LISP site, and then the site name. All of other configuration is same as the, for example, iOS router config LISP site. Here you can configure many things. For example, you can configure allowed locator, authentication key, description. Let me to show you. For example, you can configure the allowed locator, such as the iOS allowed locator, and then the R-look of the locator. Or you can configure the authentication key and then authentication key. And after that, you can configure description. And the most important part is the EID prefix. EID, for example, EID prefix, and then you can configure the, for example, A, B, C, D as the EID prefix. Let me to show you, starting in the NXOS 4 in here with the IPv4 list, IP LISP map resolver, IP LISP map server, okay, and map server, and then LISP site. The first LISP site is the site 1, for example, and then we can configure allowed locator. Allowed locator is the, for example, quad 1, okay, that's it. And then we can use the authentication key. For example, authentication key is Cisco. And then you can configure description site 1, okay, and then the important part is EID prefix 192.168.10/24. That's it. And let me to enter it again. I'm going to configure another LISP site. The next LISP site is LISP site, for example, site 2. Here we have allowed locator of the quad 2, and also authentication key is Cisco, and also description is site 2, for example. And finally, we have the LISP, we have the site configuration is incomplete because we didn't configure EID prefix. LISP site 2 again, site 2 EID prefix is 192.168.20/24, okay. And after that, we have another LISP site 3. And then allowed locator is the quad 3. The authentication key is Cisco. And the description is site 3. Okay. And then where EID prefix is 192.168.30/24. That's it. Show Lisp site. Now, as you can see in the show Lisp site, we have site 1, site 2, and site 3. And as you can see from site 1, one RLOOK now is registered. It's EID prefix, and also after some second, yes, quad 2 registered 192.168.20, and finally quad 3. As you can see here in the NXOS, we can see the RLOOK, but in the iOS we see the outgoing IP address in most cases. And if we check again, look at here, show Lisp site. Yes, now all of the routing locators are available in the Lisp site cache in the mapping server. Let me check the connectivity between the NXOS 1, NXOS 2, and NXOS 3. And before that, we can see the show IP Lisp map cache in the switch. For example, 1, look at here. We don't have any map cache in the switch 1. Let me check the connectivity from VPC 1 to the VPC 2, starting with the VPC 1. Ping 192.168.210, for example. The first request is timed out, the second is timed out, and after that we have connectivity. Why? You know the feature of the Lisp. NXOS 1 sends the map request to the NXOS 4. NXOS 4 forward or de-encapsulate the map request and again re-encapsulate the packet and forward to and send the packet to the, for example, NXOS 2. NXOS 2 answers the NXOS 1. And after that, after learning the RLOOK address of this EID prefix, R1 can encapsulate packets received from the VPC 1 to the NXOS 2. This is the process of Lisp. I explained in the Lisp process. In this video, I'm not going to delve into the detail of the concept of the Lisp IPv4 unicast routing. I'm going only to show you the configuration. The concept is same as the IPv4 unicast routing or Lisp IPv4 unicast routing in iOS. Okay, we have connectivity between VPC 1 to VPC 2 and also from the VPC 1 to VPC 3, as you can see here. Okay, very good. Let's go to VPC 2. From VPC 2, ping 192.168, for example, 310. And after 2 timeout, we will have the connectivity. Very good. Let's check the NXOS 1 Lisp map cache, show IP Lisp map cache, for example. As you can see here, in the map cache of the switch 1, we have for the 192.168.20/24 EID, the quad 2 routing locator, and for 192.168.30/24 EID, the routing locator of quad T. The priority and wait is same as the priority and wait we configured. The state is up. The uptime is, for example, 1 minute for the quad 2 and 23 seconds for the quad 3. And after that, we have connectivity between these VPCs. Don't forget, many things we can explain in this scenario, but I explained all of them in the iOS section. Okay, in this scenario, the goal is to only learn the configuration, the difference of configuration between NXOS and iOS. And finally, let me check the MSMR configuration. This is the configuration of MSMR, and also we saw the show IP Lisp command and also the show IP Lisp map cache command. And finally, and in the MSMR, we can use the show Lisp site command. Okay, and that's it. This is the configuration of Lisp in NXOS. Don't forget, we enabled the feature Lisp with transport license, and we enabled feature OSPF with the, for example, enterprise license. And also, don't forget, maybe you need to remove MAC addresses in the emulator, in some emulators. And after that, now we have Lisp IPv4 unicast routing connectivity in NXOS.